Why didn't Rome expand further to the north, such as Scotland and Germany? The first aspect to consider is necessity. Not all conquests were equally important, but in general, especially early on, Rome was focused on controlling the Mediterranean Sea and the trade routes within it. As time went on and the empire grew more powerful, it expanded further inland, mostly for resources. From the 1st century BC to the 1st century AD, Rome acquired Gaul, Britain, and the Balkans, solidifying its core frontiers, many of which saw little change afterwards. Although Rome's political structure encouraged war, the cost of conquest was also important to consider. For example, certain parts of Germany had a small and sparse population, which would not offer much tax revenue if conquered. Therefore, Caledonia and Germany weren't exactly seen as a priority, as they were not crucial for maintaining the trade routes of the Mediterranean, also being quite expensive to conquer and protect, with the potential gains not being worth it. Not only did these regions not offer sufficient compensations for their annexation, but waging a war on them would be difficult, bringing us to the next point: terrain. When it comes to terrain, the two regions have many commonalities, with forests and hills, Caledonia in particular having some larger mountains and swamps, while Germany possessed dense woodlands. Roman armies were high quality, but were at their best in open terrain or uneven ground, not exactly well equipped for these areas. Therefore, fighting in the harsh terrain north of the empire would discourage any ambitions, which wasn't helped by resistance from locals. Evidently, resistance proved to be a major thorn in the side of the empire. Rome did conquer parts of northwestern Germany during Caesar's Gallic Wars, which were further intensified under Augustus, encompassing the Rhine and parts of the Low Countries. However, attempts to go further were unsuccessful, as Germanic tribes united against the Roman threat, causing a massive defeat for the empire at the Battle of Teutoburg Forest. The Romans returned under Commander Germanicus, with major campaigns of up to 70,000 men, achieving some victories but not securing control, forcing Rome to establish its frontiers along the Rhine and Danube. Caledonia, on the other hand, was invaded by Rome shortly after its conquest of Britain in the 80s AD, with Governor Agricola winning at the Battle of Mons Gropius, but falling back after continued resistance from Caledonian tribes. Hadrian's Wall, followed by the Antonine Wall, were built decades later, marking two different borders before major campaigns continued in the 3rd century. This time, Emperor Septimius Severus attacked Caledonia, passing the Antonine Wall and marching into the highlands. Severus's forces suffered heavy casualties against the Caledonians' guerrilla tactics, the emperor soon deciding to retake Agricola's old forts and ravage the remaining territory. The Caledonians, horrified at what looked to become an extermination, tried to negotiate peace, but to no avail. Severus's son Caracalla went north with orders to loot and burn everything in sight, but the fate of the Caledonians was ultimately saved by Severus's untimely death in 211, with Caracalla calling off the war soon after. The Romans never launched another major attack, keeping its military presence in skirmishes, abandoning Hadrian's Wall by the 4th to 5th centuries. Overall, Rome didn't expand further north, specifically Caledonia and Germany, for 3 core reasons. Necessity, such as the cost-effectiveness of conquest, rough terrain such as hills and forests, and resistance such as Germanic and Caledonian tribes.